Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello. If you are returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate you. So if I look the same as I did in my last video, it's because it's the same day. I'm literally filming 3 videos in a row and I don't feel like changing. So there's that. But today is going to be another reaction video, and this is one I've been wanting to do for a while because it's kind of like, it's an iconic video in terms of fat acceptance that we are going to be reacting to today. Today we're going to be reacting to Virgie Tovar's Cake Related Fatphobic Incident video, or CRFI video. And I will never forget the first time that I saw this video and I was like, what is this? And it was before like I had like really left like the fat acceptance idea like rhetoric and all that behind. But even watching this, I was like, kindly, what is this? So I thought it would be fun to do a reaction to it because I just felt like it, and it's like an iconic piece of media in terms of fat acceptance. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Let me move over. All right, reaction starts meow.
Hi, I'm award-winning fat activist and professional feminist killjoy Virgie Tovar.
Sorry, I'm planning on doing a whole video on Virgie Tovar. Let me know down below in the comments if that's something you actually want to see, but it is kind of on my list of ideas.
And I'm here today to talk to you about an epidemic that's affecting women everywhere. It's called CRFI. If you're like many women, you've been to a birthday party or a small office gathering, an event that's meant to bring people together. There's swinging tunes, some adult beverages, and good convo. And then it comes time to cut the cake, and someone decides to ruin everything.
Oh my God, that slice is huge. That slice is bigger than Beyonce's paycheck. Can you cut me half of that?
A cake-related fatphobic incident, or CRFI, is that moment when it's time to eat delicious cake and it's interrupted by a moralizing impulse.
Okay, so I'm stopping in here for just a quick interlude. So yes, I have experienced this. I have even done this myself. So sue me. I never, even when I was bigger, it never bothered me when somebody was like, can I please have a smaller piece of cake? Like, that never bothered me. And do I like kind of, I mean, honestly, like even when I was bigger, I would still comment just like almost as like a reflex about how big the piece of cake was, but I still ate the thing. Like, I still eat, and I'll still do that. I'll still be like, whoa, this is a big piece of cake. Amazing, let me eat the whole thing. I will gladly do that. But now I have to ask sometimes for smaller pieces of cake because eating too much cake in one sitting makes me sick because of my weight loss surgery. Some sugars just make me ill. And so like I have to ask for a smaller piece of cake. I've had to do that before. Do I do it now? Not so much, because my stomach's pretty much like, my body's pretty much adapted to my weight loss surgery stomach, so it's like it doesn't make me as sick anymore, or sick at all, really. But yeah, like that's not something I have to do, but it is something that I used to have to do, or else I would get ill, especially if I was at work. I didn't want to get sick. And it wasn't because of any moral thing, it was just because I didn't feel like getting sick. And so like now, and even then, like before I lost weight, I definitely understood why someone might want a smaller piece of cake. She calls it that you're interrupted by a moralizing impulse, so I'm hoping that we go into like their thoughts on moralizing food, but if they don't, then we'll talk about that. So I'm just gonna let her keep talking.
Inevitably, there's always someone at the party who has to declare publicly that their slice is too large, and that the person who's cutting the cake, almost invariably a woman, must do some disproportionate amount of labor in order to accommodate their need to feel superior.
Okay. cake to be smaller is not labor. It's literally just a boop. There you go. Like, and what does the cake cutter being a woman have to do with it? Like, I get what she's trying to do here by being like, you're making a woman work more with your moralizing food and like your impulses and whatever. But like, no, whoever volunteers to cut the cake volunteers to cut the cake, and they're going to be asked to cut one smaller. I've been the cake cutter many a times, and I never felt labored or tired from having to perform the extra labor of cutting a piece of cake smaller. Are you kidding? Okay, that's ridiculous. I have one like overarching thought on this video, but I'm gonna wait till the end to talk about that.
Let's take a look. Can you do a little bit, just like, can you like scrape all the frosting off and cut it in half and give me 2 forks, because I'm sharing.
Okay, that I will say is annoying when somebody's like, can you scrape the frosting off or blah, blah, blah. It's like, do it yourself, you know? I get that.
Small, like a little bit more, like tiny, no, like less than what you're smaller, please.
Could you just cut my piece into 12 equal symmetrical little pieces and put each one into a tiny little Tupperware so that I can have a bite for each month of 2018? Thanks.
I get that this is being hyperbolic, but this is annoying. I've never not and I've experienced many a cake cutting festivities, you know, both in my family, at birthday parties, at work, like in an office, that I've experienced a lot of cake cutting opportunities. And I've never not once seen someone be this fucking annoying about it. So, yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. This is just, I get that they're being hyperbolic and that they're just making fun of people who ask for a smaller piece of cake, but like, this is ridiculous.
Let's take a step back and view what's happening through a critical feminist lens. CRFIs typically happen in environments where there are primarily or exclusively women. Women are disproportionately negatively affected by diet culture because diet culture maps onto sexism. Like many parts of diet culture, there is a significant performance component. You have to show others that you are being good. Controlling how much you eat is part of what it means to be a, quote, good woman. This kind of behavior is a way for people to keep other people in check through food moralizing, surveillance, and policing. These are the...
Okay, so I don't disagree with the fact that women are more disproportionately affected by diet culture in society. I don't disagree with that at all. I think that's very true. With like fad diets and like unhealthy fad dieting being promoted more towards women than men. I get that for sure. But I think this is making something so much bigger out of something so small. Like, so small. I feel like so small. Like, such a small thing that happens. I think this is making such a big deal out of nothing. And, I think analyzing it through saying you're analyzing it through a feminist lens is kind of weird and kind of goes against what feminism is fighting for in that, and I'm going to talk about this when it comes to fat people as well, but like, it's making women seem ways like really sensitive towards everything, which is already a stereotype that we are fighting in society for sure. And like, and we don't need this. Like, we don't need this. And I'm all for feminism. I have 6 different women tattooed on me for feminist reasons. I think that this is not helping that message at all. And they are talking about moralizing food here, which I guess we'll see what else they say about it, because I have thoughts on that too, but I want to let this roll first.
Mechanisms that are at the core of diet culture and weight control. The idea that you can position yourself as superior to others through self-control and self-denial is super sexist.
I don't think anybody asks for a smaller piece of cake or whatever in a setting like that to make it seem like they're better than the other people. I truly don't think that. That could just be me looking at it realistically, but I really don't think that is the case. And so again, this is making something out of absolutely nothing.
CRFIs have a history of creating a hierarchy among women and ultimately in maintaining misogynist expectations. Watch how this woman demonstrates a different way to engage with cake.
Thank you. No, thank you.
Practice just taking the cake slice you're given, or simply saying, no thanks. Don't make other people be your cake nanny, because women already have too much on their plate with a sexist culture, navigating underwhelming romantic options, and an absurdly inexplicable pay gap. So remember,
so part of me thinks that they made this ridiculous video to, like, talk about all of those things that Virgie just listed, which are very valid concerns for women, you know, like the pay gap, all that stuff. But, like, again, I really just think this video is making women and fat people out to seem so much more sensitive than they actually are, and it's really not helping this conversation at all.
the next time that you're on the verge of committing a CRFI, be an ally to women rather than an accomplice to patriarchy. Because, after all, patriarchy doesn't give a fuck about you, girl.
It's so rich.
It's so rich.
It's so rich. It's so rich.
It's so rich.
It's so rich.
Okay, I think that was pretty good.
Okay, so I guess I just wanted to talk about this video more because I think it's ridiculous. I think insinuating that asking for a smaller piece of cake is, like, feeding into the patriarchy is just such a reach. Holy shit. I think it is such a reach. And I remember seeing this video, and when I was younger and, like, fat and whatever, like, when I was way bigger than I am now. For context, I've lost, like, 100 pounds. I remember seeing this, and I'm like, is this really what people think of people who, like, ask for a smaller piece of cake, that, like, they're, like, trying to seem morally superior? Like, I don't understand that. And I never have understood that. And I've never seen people asking for a smaller piece of cake as trying to be morally superior to the people around them. That's just never something I thought. And like I've said before in this video, I think that, and I've brought this up in past videos too, that they're making people view women and fat people as super sensitive, super easily offended, and which goes against everything that they are advocating for. But I think through making content like this, they are kind of contradicting their cause. And I think this is just such a great example of fat acceptance doing that. Absolutely, 100%. And I think that's why it's brought up in so many conversations when it comes to fat acceptance and being against fat acceptance, is because this whole narrative is ridiculous. And, like, some people, it kind of goes back to, like, the Demi Lovato frozen yogurt situation too, how she was just so unaware of, like, literally any other reason why somebody might want to eat a sugar-free food. They made it so much about them and their response to it and how it affected them personally that they totally forgot about, say, like, diabetics, who can't eat, who need sugar-free foods. And, like, this, I think, is very similar to that situation where, like, they have totally forgotten that, like, diabetics exist, or people like me who have had weight loss surgery, which they're also against, so they probably don't care about that, but people who have had weight loss surgery or other medical reasons why they might want to have cake still, but might just need a smaller piece of it, God forbid. And I think making it out to be that, like, whoever's cutting the cake is being forced to do this, like, extra labor for you in the name of patriarchy is really just overshadowing so many of the bigger issues that feminism and modern day feminism try and talk about. and again is just making feminists, women, fat people, etc. just seem so much more sensitive than like most of the time they actually are. And so I think this video is just hogwash and should be avoided at all costs. This came out like 5 years ago, so I think it has kind of been pushed aside, but I still have seen it referenced a lot in terms of people talking about why they don't like fat acceptance. And so that's why I wanted to make this video, because I just think it's really funny.
Hello, Editing Megan here. I totally forgot to talk about the whole moralizing food situation that I had been saying throughout this entire video that I was going to talk about. But throughout this whole video, she kind of alludes to like, people are asking for a smaller piece of cake because it's like a moral thing, and like they're attaching moral value to cake and all that kind of stuff, which is true. A lot of people do moralize food, and fat acceptance often speaks out against moralizing food, and so does is like a lot of like good dietitians. Like, I'm a firm believer that food doesn't have any moral value, and that you're like not a better or worse person for wanting a smaller piece of cake or wanting a bigger piece of cake. Like, who the fuck cares? But I think by bringing it up so many times in the video, I think that they might, cause people to be like, oh, maybe cake does have a moral value. Like, maybe I am a bad person for asking for a smaller piece of cake. Like, and I feel like it kind of goes against what Virgie Tovar talks about a lot, and yeah. And so that's kind of just what I wanted to talk about with moralizing food, but I totally forgot to talk about it in the actual video. So you get this instead. Okay, bye!
I think that's all I wanted to talk about in terms of this video. I just wanted to bring it up again because I think it's fucking ridiculous and I think it's fun to laugh at. And I am thinking about making a Virgie Tovar video, so again, let me know down in the comments if you want that for sure. But I'm going to cut it here before I start rambling way too much and repeating things. So yeah, I hope you guys liked this video. Let me know what you think in the comments, as always. Please remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, drink your water, take your meds, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.